Hello everyone. So this is the second lecture in this topic, which is mathematics, physics and imaging for MRI. So basically we are trying to understand the important terms and the important principles that are required to understand your magnetic resonance imaging. So previous lecture we looked at the mathematics of MRI. So in this lecture we look at the physics of physics knowledge which is required for your MRI systems. So physics for MRI. So we'll be looking at atomic structure, electricity, magnetism, electromagnetism and electromagnetic radiation. You would have studied all these things in your school and in your previous semesters, but I'll just need to refresh your memory, just a quick recap of the important terms and important principles which are required for MRI systems. So first one is atomic structure. This is very clear, you know about atom, right? It has a nucleus surrounded by electrons. Electrons are negative, and then the nucleus has two particles which are protons and neurons. Protons and neutrons. So protons are positive, neutrons are no charge. And then the unit of electrical charge is coulomb, which is 6.24 into 10 power 18 electrons. And charge of a single electron is minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, and charge of a single proton is plus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. And then the atom has same number of electrons and protons, so it has no charge. So totally atom has no charge. So the number of protons is your atomic number, which has a symbol of Z. So this is about the atomic structure. So since we are mainly concerned about hydrogen atoms in our body, we need to understand all these terms before we move on to the magnetic resonance, right? Next thing is electricity. So electricity is any stationary electric charge has a continuous electric field, we all know that. So electric field radiates from positive to negative charge, and potential is the measure of your energy required to move an electron, that is your voltage, right? So only when we give an voltage there will be a flow of current. So this potential has symbol V and it is the unit is volt. So electric current is your flow of charge and its unit is ampere. So whenever there is a current flow in a circuit, the energy will be converted into different forms. So when there is a resistance, there is a generation of heat. When there is a inductance, there is a generation of magnetic field, and whenever there is a capacitance, there is a generation of electric field. So whenever you have a resistor, inductor or a capacitor in an electric circuit, there will be always a energy conversion. So these things are very important basic points to remember. Next thing is magnetism. So any moving charge generates a magnetic field. We all know that whenever there is an electric field, you will have a magnetic field. So matter is made up of atoms which consist of moving charges. So everything has some degree of magnetic field in it, right? So the degree of magnetism is dependent on the degree of organization of motion of electrons. So depending on the electron movement, you will get your magnetism. So permanent magnet has higher degree of organization. So that's why permanent magnets always have a strong magnetic field. So the magnetic susceptibility is the term which is defines to which extent the material becomes magnetized when placed in a magnetic field. That is the ability of the material to become magnetized when placed in a magnetic field. That is what is magnetic susceptibility. So this is defined by the signal psi, and it has no unit. If you look at here, you have an object, a circular object placed in a magnetic field. So what is that object? It is a vacuum. So this has magnetic susceptibility of 0. So the magnetic lines are unaffected. So when you pass magnetic field in a vacuum, there is no change. And next thing is you have a paramagnetic material. So a paramagnetic material has positive susceptibility. So what happens here? You can see the magnetic field is becoming dense. So the material is actually changing the magnetic field. So the field induced within the material is in the same direction as the external field. So whatever the paramagnetic material has a magnetic field, the direction will be same as your external magnetic field, and the total field is greater than the external field, which is indicated by the dense field lines. So the material will have more magnetic field when compared to the external field. And then the magnetic third type of material is called a diamagnetic material, which has a negative susceptibility. So here the field which is produced within the material will have an opposite direction of your external field, and the total field will be less than the external field, which is indicated by the less dense lines. So why we need to understand all these things? Because every tissue, every organ inside our body will have a different susceptibility. For example, brain is a soft tissue, but your bone is a hard tissue, right? The skull is a hard tissue. So when you look at lungs, you have a sternum and the rib cage, which is a hard tissue. But then when you look at heart and the lungs, those are the soft tissues. So each material inside the body will have a different magnetic susceptibility. So that we should understand when we are studying about MRI. Next thing is electromagnetism. Just give me a minute.